Every year, India's union budget brings a flurry of expectations and speculation. But how have the Indian stock markets actually performed after each budget? Let's take a closer look at how the Nifty and Sensex have reacted to budget announcements since 2014. We have got some interesting insights. Let's start with 2014, when Narendra Modi's government presented its first budget. The market had high hopes for a shift in economic policies, and it was termed as the beginning of a new era. On July 10, 2014, after the budget was presented, both the Sensex and Nifty saw strong positive moves. On July 10, 2014, after the budget was presented, both the Sensex and Nifty saw strong positive moves. Sensex surged by 4.8% in the first week post-budget, and Nifty gained around 5%. This was largely due to optimism about reforms, a stable government, and expectations of a revival in economic growth. Fast forward to 2015, and Finance Minister Nirmala delivered a budget with modest reforms. While there were some tax proposals and measures aimed at spurring growth, the market's reaction was more cautious. On Feb 28, 2015, the Sensex closed flat after the budget announcement, with a slight negative trend. The Nifty dropped by about 1% in the week following the budget. This showed that while investors were hoping for high and big-ticket reforms, the market was still uncertain about the pace of change. The Feb 2016 budget presented by Jaitley reflected the government's focus on economic growth, tax incentives, and increased allocation to agriculture and infrastructure. The Sensex saw a positive reaction post-budget, rising by 3.1% in the first week after the announcement, and Nifty, on the other hand, similarly surged by 3.5%. The budget's growth-oriented measures helped boost investor sentiment. Twenty 2017 was a year when the GST rollout was top of mind. While Finance Minister Nirmala focused on the GST and the new tax reforms, markets were more cautious due to the uncertainty around its implementation. On Feb 1, 2017, post-budget, the BSE Sensex saw a modest 0.5% drop, while the Nifty closed flat. The markets had already priced in the major changes and were focused on the long-term impact of GST. Investors were concerned about how these reforms would unfold over time, leading to mixed reactions. In 2018, the budget was seen as an election year budget, and markets didn't respond too well. There were some populist measures like higher allocations for rural schemes and farm income support, but the market was expecting more. Sensex fell by 1.5% on Feb 1, 2018 post-budget. Nifty similarly dropped by 1.2% in the first week. This was one of the few years where the market showed a negative reaction post-budget, reflecting investor caution ahead of the elections. Twenty 2019 saw one of the most market-friendly budgets when Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman proposed significant tax cuts for corporates and individual taxpayers. The announcement sent a clear signal to the market that the government was serious about economic reforms. The Sensex surged by 5% immediately post-budget, and the Nifty gained about 4.7%. This was one of the best post-budget rallies seen in years, with investors' confidence at a high. The bold moves in the corporate tax structure were widely seen as a growth catalyst, and the market responded accordingly and positively. 2020 started on an optimistic note with expectations of continued economic reforms. However, COVID-19 was already on the horizon, and the Feb 2020 budget didn't bring any major surprises. Sensex rose by about 2.5% post-budget and Nifty gained 2.3%. The market was expecting more stimulus and structural reforms, but global uncertainty had begun to weigh in. Despite that, the market maintained a positive bias for most of the year before the COVID-19 pandemic led to a sharp correction. In 2021, the budget was largely centered on recovery from the pandemic. The government announced reforms in healthcare, infrastructure, and financial packages for COVID-19 affected sectors. The Sensex rose by about 3.7% on Feb 1, 2021 post-budget. Nifty also gained around 3.5% in the first few days, driven by optimism regarding the recovery packages. Investors took this as a signal that India was ready for a strong recovery and the market showed positive momentum. In 2022 and 23, the focus continued on growth and economic reforms. The budget announced by Nirmala Sitharaman included initiatives to boost infrastructure, digital economy, and green energy. Sensex showed steady growth with 2 to 3% return in the days following the budgets, reflecting optimism. The Nifty also saw a moderate rally, driven by long-term growth expectations. The market appreciated the focus on sustainability and job creation, though it was cautious about global uncertainties. And now we come to 2024. The market had high hopes for tax relief for the middle class and a focus on boosting consumption. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman laid out reforms aimed at simplifying the tax structure, making investments easier and driving infrastructure growth. The Sensex saw moderate growth increasing by around 1.5% in the first week post-budget. The Nifty also had a slight uptick, gaining 1.2%. While the market had positive expectations around consumer spending and tax relief, it remained cautious due to global inflation concerns and the impact of interest rate hikes. So, how have Indian markets reacted after each budget? We have seen significant rallies, cautious reactions, and even some downturns based on the measures proposed. The key takeaway? Markets are driven by expectations, and what happens after the budget often depends on how closely the proposals align with those expectations. Stay tuned for Budget 2025. With Budget 2025 around the corner, will we see another market surge or cautious movements? Let us know in the comments what you are expecting from this year's budget, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more updates.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.